Hello and welcome to another episode of Hour 1. As always, I'm Charlie. This time we'll be checking out the game Pokken Tournament on the Wii U. As always, I'll play the first hour of the game and give my thoughts on impressions on it afterwards. Now, I've actually played the kind of extensive tutorial mode of this already, so it's not the truest hour mode. There's a pretty extensive battle system in this game, and I didn't want to look like a total idiot while playing it, and it's kind of unfair to go into a fighting game without learning some of the systems. So yeah, I'll be playing the first hour of the, quote, single-player part of the game, maybe touching on the multiplayer quickly, but probably not. But yeah, with all that being said, let's get to it. Alright, so yeah, like I said, there's a whole multiplayer mode, there's local and online, there's a practice system, which I went through all the kind of base tutorials of, and a one-off single battle system. We're gonna do the single-player, the Theorem League, if you will. So yeah, let's get that going. Also, yeah, starting the timer now. Oh yeah, I'm using Luchador Pikachu because Luchador Pikachu is badass and insane. I also have a thing for Luchadors. If you had, not a thing, but if you watch the channel, you may have heard us mention my love for mass Mexican wrestling.
Once your synergy gauge is full, your Pokemon can use its synergy burst. Synergy gauge up. Let's keep our block up. You're starting to get the hang of this, eh? Keep it up. Let's call in some support.
Alright, go and get him.
Keep it this up power to fill your synergy gauge. Your synergy gauge is full. Now's your chance to use burst.
See if I got the range. Ah, didn't quite get him.
You did it. You're in
See if I can get this time.
This is your big chance.
Yep. Why would you use any other character except for Luchador Pikachu? It's ridiculous.
Synergy gauge. Critical hit.
There we go.
Like a book. Going time is halfway pace. You can awesome.
Alright, so the moves have kind of a weird thing going on. They're very relative to your opponent, meaning a button you think.
All right, let's have some more fun for the next round too. Now then, what'll it be?
Like, it's you think the move should, it's the actual direction to the attacks
Just gotta believe
does
in your
change in
Pokemon.
relation to what you're looking
Very
at.
best. Don't let the pressure
So like this would have been,
competitive, too.
it's always back away from the enemy, which means it can be up, down, or left. It's really kind of weird.
Recalibrate your attacks from field base. Pick up power to fill your synergy gauge. Let's keep our block up now.
Get him! Yep. Into the boxing ring. I can imagine in online mode, these are really annoying to watch over and over.
You've already taken the lead.
Go for slide tackle.
Your support gauge is full.
And suplex.
You did it.
Go. Yeah. It's not just Pika Libre.
All right.
Oh, it's the command grab move. I love this thing. It is so ridiculous. See if I can finish him off. Here we go! Got my fist to the North Star. See if I can get this going. Because his is awesome. Some nightmare fuel and then some.
Which Pokemon do you want to tag for support?
Yep, Snivy.
I always just go with my gut.
I thought I turned you off. You got some fight in you, actually. There we go.
Come on, let's win it. That was a good, clean win.
That's the closest I've come to dying, and because I was screwing up a bunch, and Gengar's not my best. Eat Shadow Ball, motherfucker! And get eaten!
Are you both okay? I've never seen a Pokemon suddenly appear and attack like that. That was a little
Have you
unexpected.
played the original Pokemon games when you were walking through tall
glad you're
grass?
going up to see
They just
that.
kind of come out and
I can't
attack
wait to
you.
see how far-
Oh, these are fantastically bad. Alright, so that was an hour. You heard the alarm go off. So, Pokken tournament. This is kind of the Pokemon game I've wanted all along in some weird ways, but at the same time, I can't help but feel a tad disappointed with the game I'm actually getting. This is not in any way, shape, or form a bad game by any measure. It's just not enough, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It is really cool to see a Pokemon game in 3D, fully realized it's a fighting game where they've taken the kids' gloves off and it's Pokemon just kind of throwing down and going at it. I've always wanted this game. I felt the original Pokemon tournaments, both 1 and 2, or Pokemon Tournament GS, whatever the hell the actual name was, were missed opportunities to really make Pokemon feel not more realistic, but more realized. And this game gets me that dream, and it's also in many ways the most fun I've had playing Pokemon, but it's definitely not a Pokemon game. This is a very watered-down fighting game. I would say in the same category as Super Smash Bros. There's a lot of potential depth here, but most players, myself included, will never get anywhere near that depth, and that's fine. It's a lot of fun. It's also just kind of maddeningly easy. I've only lost one fight so far, and that was against Mewtwo, and I think that was a scripted battle that I was supposed to lose because, stuff just kept happening, and I think I actually could have maybe taken him if I've been playing with my best character. So, to take a step back for a second, you have a roster of characters. I've screwed around with a couple of them. I played around with a couple of them when I was doing the training mode to kind of figure out who I did and didn't like. Maybe I should have played around with more to find some of the interesting ones, but I've touched on all of them, and they do play, for the most part, surprisingly different, which is a big deal for a fighting game. Like, you have a whole roster of characters that are pretty different. They're broken down to speed, power, and technique. I don't know what makes a technique character, but speed and power do feel appropriately zippy or appropriately powerful, with the exception of Pika Libre, who just feels OP as fuck. But that's a whole separate topic. It's neither here nor there. So maybe it's a balancing issue. Maybe they'll fix it. But so the actual fighting in the game is really intriguing, where you have a lot of systems stacked on top of each other, and maybe removing one system, specifically the support system, would make this game actually a lot better. So the transition from field and duel. Field is the kind of more traditional third-person roaming situation, where duel is the traditional up-close and fighting one. It feels very natural. Once you get used to the transition and kind of how it screws with the buttons a little bit, it's a really good feeling combat engine. And when you get into burst and you're pulling off crazy power moves, it's awesome. The burst attack, I like it. I also like X-rays and stuff like my super, like in my Mortal Kombat and in Street Fighter, like the Ultras, and it feels like that. But they're a tad long, I guess. Like, they're exceedingly cinematic, and they're so over the top you can't help but enjoy them. But I could imagine in, like, a tournament setting or an online setting even, the burst attacks get a tad ridiculous. I love the fact that the characters, like, when you are in burst mode, you get powered up crazy versions of the attack. Gengar being the best example, like with the rolling buzzsaw attack in place of his kind of normal ground seeker move. It's the same move for all purposes, it just looks way cooler. And on the topic of that, actually, each character has their own personality. Like Gengar meshes into the ground when he ducks, or kind of floats above the ground, where Pikachu stands taller. The game is oozing with just really good decisions that were made across the board from a design standpoint. And I can't fault the intent of the game. The combat is good. The game plays pretty fantastically. The support system is a tacked-on, unnecessary thing that throws more Pokemon in the mix, where I get the point of the support system, and maybe in high-end play I'd be like, fuck yeah, support system. And yes, I started off with a really unnecessary group of support characters. My tune was already changing slightly when I was finding ones that did, well, more interesting things. It feels unnecessary, and it kind of pollutes an otherwise really cool combat system. I didn't play around with the multiplayer. Maybe you can turn that off, but that is my biggest gripe about the gameplay of the game, aside from it is not the most intuitive system. If you're thinking about playing this game, play all of the tutorial. And the tutorial is bad, but it teaches you all of the systems you need to know to understand this game and start beasting on things. And maybe the first league or whatever it is, the D rank stuff, is as easy as this because you're just getting used to the combat system, but you saw me beasting on things there. So, yeah, I like Pokken Tournament. I wish it had more stuff. I initially thought the single-player mode was going to be very much it's a string of justified battles. There appears to be some story to it. I'm now actually going to go back on that and say maybe a string of justified battles I might have been okay with. At the same time, I like that there's a story there. It's nice to see a fighting game with a story mode attached to it as a central focus. And it feels very much like it's trying to make it feel like more traditional Pokemon. You got gym leaders, you've got ranks. They're not called gym leaders or badges, they're ranking systems. If I had to get nitpicky, I would say it feels a tad grindy, where I wish it was just kind of put me in endless fighting trainer mode until I ranked up enough. Like having to go through the rounds of, hey, you have to fight 5 guys again. And maybe that's if you lose, you don't get any credit for it. If that's the case, power to them, that's actually not a bad system. But at least at the lower level I'm playing at, it feels a tad unnecessary. And to put it in perspective, if we're measuring game time potentially in kind of the 4 ranks, I might be a quarter done with the game technically. I've cleared the first rank in an hour, and I've unlocked some stuff. I'd like to think it gets harder from here on out. Like, I swapped around characters some. I'm betting that whole leveling up system becomes a lot more important as time goes on, but hell if I know, man. I like Pokken Tournament. I'm intrigued by it. I wish there was a couple more fighting characters. I don't like the support system. It feels very Pokemon in the right familiar way, but also some stuff like the trainer system. You design them and you pay money. I don't care what my trainer looks like. I just want a black hoodie. Unlock that stuff from the beginning. It's silly. And I get it's an unlockable system to encourage you to play the game, but maybe the game should be enough to encourage you to play the game. And on top of that, I had to dig through some settings to set my trainer to a lower comment setting because I wanted to strangle her. And there's some stuff like you can play dress up with her, which I found kind of weird. It's a neat thing to have in a fighting game. I wish I could turn off completely because the kind of mentor trainer that's yelling advice is the worst part of the game so far. But yeah, I don't have that many gripes, really. I had a weird patch for a Nintendo game when I powered it up, but that's about it. The tutorial's very mandatory, disgustingly mandatory in some ways. Like, I don't know if I could say that I could play the game without playing it. It definitely wouldn't make as much sense, and it would be very frustrating. The support system, who needs it really? The game looks great. It's a Pokemon fighting game. What more do you want in some ways? But yeah, I don't know what I'm about to go do. I think I'll try and play dressed up with my trainer or something like that. I don't know. Maybe buy a better hoodie. I could be a douchebag. And I've unlocked everything I care about unlocking for my trainer now. Congratulations, the game. Oh, there's stupid scarves, too. Fantastic.
Something Wicked Studios.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give us a thumbs up down below, you share us with all your friends, and you subscribe to the channel. If you're looking for more videos right now, we've got a whole bunch of ones all over the channel you can get to by the links below. If you hit the random button, I promise to send you to a good one. You know you want to. Press it. Press it.